me think of like a really cool girl getting ready and like her coffee is brewing and she's like putting on her vanilla body products. I might be projecting a little bit there.
That's just you in the morning.
She's putting on her vanilla deodorant and her vanilla body powder and her vanilla lotion. Taking her vanilla antidepressants. That's a joke.
You know, for someone who constantly dresses in black, you sure are obsessed with vanilla.
Well, as they say, vanilla is life.
I don't know who they is.
Don't let snobs bully you.
Don't let anybody bully. And if you want to smell like wonderful effervescent vanilla, I support you in this endeavor.
I support you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hello there, friends. Welcome back to my office. Today I am joined once again by my husband, Mr. Saga, for a very long-awaited list video, one that I've been very, very excited to do together. We'll be sharing our top 5 vanilla fragrances in each of our collections. There doesn't need to be a reminder, really, right? That they're not the top 5 vanilla perfumes of all time. They're just
the top 5 in our collection.
In our personal collections as perfume consumers.
Yeah, and I think there's also, I know at least in the ones that I'm like going through, is my intention is to kind of like I try to pick a varied group of fragrances that serve kind of like different purposes while also being very much vanilla centric. That was one thing that was kind of interesting, is for a lot of masculine targeted fragrances, vanilla tends to be at times kind of like an afterthought, where there's a lot of dry down of vanilla as opposed to it being kind of the central focus. Or
vanilla just being added for a touch of sweetness and kind of like crowd-pleasing scent.
If you can think of a men's fragrance that it's basically a blue fragrance that then dries down into kind of a vanilla, I tried to steer clear of those. So.
That sort of generic designer type vanilla men's
fragrances. There's some generic vanilla designers here, but the vanilla is the focal point as opposed to an afterthought was the intention.
And I'd say I had a similar approach with mine as well. Very vanilla forward fragrances, but if vanilla is not necessarily the main note, it is a big supporter of the fragrance.
Mm-hmm. And neither of us own Nichane's Ani, so don't get mad if you're like, that's the best vanilla fragrance.
Let's begin with number 1. These aren't going to be in any particular order. The first vanilla fragrance that I'd like to talk about today is Burberry Goddess. This bottle is almost empty. I'm about to move on to the big one. Got this one for a really good price from old Sloma shop. This is a lovely lavender vanilla fragrance, like super rich, sweet vanilla. And it's got a bit of spice in it as well from the ginger. This one was released in 2023. And it was voted number 1 women's fragrance on Fragrantica for the year of 2024. Thank you. This is one that, even though it's relatively new in the grand scheme of things, I think it's going to be remembered as like a classic from this time, from this like vanilla gourmand era. It's just very, very easy to wear and easy to like, and I think that it could suit people of all ages. Like, I could see a young woman wearing this, I could see an older person wearing this.
I think it's a timeless scent as well in regards to that, because like it's vanillic and sweet, but the lavender does a really great job of kind of making it airy and fresh at the top.
It adds a bit of like this aromatic facet to it, so it's not just sweet vanilla And the vanilla itself too, they use, I think, 3 or 4 types of vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got this like almost buttery sort of texture to it. Yeah, I love this one.
Yeah, it's a great one. On skin, it's even better just because although it has that lift and that airiness from the lavender, when it's on skin, it definitely has that more of that creamy tone comes out as opposed to on paper where it's going to be a little bit more of that aromatic.
Absolutely.
But especially when it warms up, it's very pleasant.
I think this one would make a really nice gift just because it is so popular and so like crowd pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes in these pretty like, you know, glass and gold bottles, and they're also refillable. So that's one thing that I like about the bottles.
I think that would be an ideal gift if you're looking for something, like if you're looking for a partner and you're like, I have no idea.
If you know they like vanilla,
mm-hmm.
I think it's a great choice for vanilla lovers.
Indeed. Especially if they're a vanilla lover and they're averse to kind of like rose, because that tends to be a pretty common pairing.
Rose or jasmine, if they're not too into florals, but you know that they're into lavender, like I'd say that's a safe blind gift.
Mm-hmm.
I've blind gifted it to people before. Number 2, also a vanilla and lavender fragrance, also one that is very well loved and almost empty, and that is Mon Guerlain. This one it's a lavender vanilla, a bit powdery and a bit more aromatic than the Burberry Goddess. It's vanilla lavender in the signature Guerlain flavor.
Yeah, the powderiness is the big offsetting thing here comparatively, because if you're saying, well, the Burberry Goddess is also vanilla lavender, it's quite a surprising departure when you hear that being the same type of notes.
But it's just a different vibe, it's a different texture, it's got like iris and I believe tonka bean in the base too.
Very, very powdery. Powdery in the sense of makeup product powdery.
Exactly, like a makeup counter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get when initially smelling it, it's one of those things where it is like a face cream, lotiony kind of powdery smell. Not in an unpleasant way, but it has that sort of edge to it where a little less sweet than the Burberry Goddess as well.
Mon Guerlain to me feels more like a cozy, comforting perfume that like when I feel like I need to be comforted, or perhaps if I want to comfort someone else, if I'm going to be giving someone a hug, I'm visiting family or friends. Burberry Goddess is more something I wear to hype myself up, to get myself in a good mood, or to boost an already great mood, you know? Mm-hmm. So kind of different feelings, different purposes for each within my own wardrobe.
This to me is going out on like a date.
Mm-hmm.
This to me is going out to an event.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I have worn both of these, you know, for meeting family, for going out on dates, or for just hanging out in the house. So both, I would say, very versatile. The next one, not so versatile. Not something I can get away with wearing year-round, unfortunately, but when I can wear it, I sure do, and I enjoy it. And that is one of my signature fragrances, Black Opium Le Parfum. Black Opium was my wedding fragrance, so it'll always have a special place in my heart. And this is the one that I feel, the current flanker that feels most me when I wear it. It's the super like rich, deep vanilla with like just a hint of coffee and patchouli in the base. And it's got like jasmine and what is it? Orange blossom is the other floral, I think.
Definitely pick up on the white florals, but that's definitely a a more creamy kind of sugary vanilla compared to the other ones.
Yes, very sugary. If you're familiar with black opium, it's got that like really projecting sugary sweetness, but it's balanced by like a bit of spice and like the coffee in the base. It's a bit more rich, and I think it's a bit edgier almost than the original black opium.
Yeah, and the coffee, it's not a coffee fragrance by any means.
No, definitely. It's way in the base. It's very, very subtle.
If you get your nose in there, you're gonna get kind of a it's got kind of that same thing where it's like Starbucks, where it's that smell where it's not the coffee's being brewed actively, but it's like
it's in the air.
It's
yeah,
in the air.
Beans are there.
And it does a good job, as she said, kind of being that counterpoint to a lot of sugar.
When you were painting that image of the coffee, it just made me think of like a really cool girl getting ready, and like her coffee is brewing and she's like putting on her vanilla body products. I might be projecting a little bit there.
That's just you in the morning.
She's putting on her vanilla deodorant and her vanilla body powder and her vanilla lotion. Taking her vanilla antidepressants. That's a joke.
You know, for someone who constantly dresses in black, you sure are obsessed with vanilla.
Well, as they say, vanilla is life.
I don't know who they is.
The next vanilla fragrance that I would like to bring to your attention today is Rose's Vanille. I guess I should show it to you. Rose's Vanille by Mancera. This one was released back in 2011, but I did not cross paths with it until last year, like early last year maybe?
I think so.
Or the year before.
Yeah.
But anyway, early 2024 or late 2023. My husband purchased this as a sample for me to try. And I fell in love from the first time that I smelled it. It immediately brought back scent memories of my grandmother's roses in her garden. Like playing in that garden when I was growing up. That's what first drew me in. So it's a roses, vanilla, and there's cedar wood in the base, which is one of my favorite types of woods in perfume. It goes wonderfully with vanilla. And then at the top of the perfume is Italian lemon. So it just brings a bit of like zest and life to it. You know how like you would add a bit of lemon to like a raspberry tart or some sort of fruit tart. It's like that. Just really well balanced, very rich, very sweet. This bottle that we got, I think it is pretty old. I think it's been aging for quite a while. So this feels to me much like richer and deeper than that sample that we initially tried.
Yeah. That one out of like all the ones that are kind of are present here is definitely it's the most potent out of all of them. The rose is definitely prominent within the fragrance.
I think that the rose is jammier in this than in that initial sample that we tried. And so for that reason, just because my particular bottle is so rich and dark and deep, I can only get away with wearing this in like cold weather in fall, like late fall, and then through the winter. I wore this so much in the winter. I was like constantly smelling like this. This office was smelling like Rose's Vanille in the winter. So I cannot wait to wear it again. I really am looking forward to my next opportunity.
That's a really nice one.
A lovely Christmas gift from my husband. Thank you, babe. Okay, number 5, the last one. I had a lot of difficulty deciding between two choices that would make it to the cut. I decided to go with the one that I think is the more kind of memorable option and the most crowd-pleasing option. I think it's the most popular for a reason, one of the most popular perfumes for a reason. And that is Valentino Donna Born in Roma. This is one that I have a travel size of. It's almost empty, and I'm gonna replace it with another travel size when I'm done. This one is just so fun, and I like to keep it in my purse because it's like, it feels uplifting to me. Like, it just makes me feel, it makes me feel happy. It cheers me up. But this is not necessarily vanilla centered, but vanilla is a big factor. It's jasmine, fruity, a little bit woody in the base, but mostly jasmine and vanilla is the focus of the perfume. It's so versatile and it's just so easy to wear. Mm-hmm. It lasts decently long on me, like usually 4 to 6 hours, and like that's fine. You know, if it lasted less than that, I would probably be, you know, upset, but I like the travel spray because I can just reapply.
Yeah, the intense version,
much more jasmine-y. That one is like seductive. This one's a lot more like playful, and but also a little bit demure. Like I don't think this is too mature for like a young woman to wear or like a teenager, but the intense I think would be a bit sexy.
And then the extra dose, that's kind of new. Mm-hmm. It kind of just, it seemed to be a bit of a, that was one where they, I don't know, I didn't really notice much of a difference.
It felt to me, from my perception, and I haven't tried it on skin yet, but the new Donna Born in Roma Intense reminded me a lot of this one, the original, but less jasmine, less of the jasmine, and then more vanilla and like fruity berry sweetness up at the top. So it was nice, but not something that I'd be interested in purchasing.
I think the other two, the Intense and the original, are a little bit more interesting actually than the extra dose.
Yes, yeah. And like, this is a perfume like I could see myself purchasing again and again and again, and just, you know, coming back to, and I think that it will remind me of this time period too in the future, and I think that will be the case for a lot of people. This one and also this one, Burberry Goddess, will be, you know, remembered as fun vanilla perfumes, great, reliable signature scents of many people. So that's why I've included them on this list. And also because I love them. Mm-hmm. So, honorable mentions. I have a few of them. Because this is the vanilla episode, I figured, why not? This is the time to talk about them while you're here as my captives. So, I'm going to discuss the vanillas that... I saw that. I'm going to be sharing the other vanilla fragrances in my collection that I believe are worth note. I certainly have gotten a lot of wear and enjoyment out of them, so we'll quickly go over those right now. This one is a newer release, Care Felicity. Lots of fingerprints on this one. This one is a dupe for the Wedding Silk Santal by Kaoli, which I've not tried, but I'd like to. If they'd have a tester near us, Sephora. But anyway... Like, if the dupe is this lovely, I cannot wait to try the original. Mm-hmm. Just real easy to reach for. Vanilla, sandalwood, and, like, sparkly white florals.
That one's very creamy.
Yes, very creamy as well. Projects. The next one is Mon Guerlain Intense. This is the intense version of Mon Guerlain, which I shared with you earlier. It's richer, it's more buttery to me, and the lavender is just turned way up. I prefer this version in real cold weather. I feel like it kind of cuts through the cold a bit better than the original. And I like the purple color of the juice. It's this cool purpley lavender color.
Yeah, that one's another one that it's a Guerlain. It's very classy.
Totally, totally. Very department store.
If you're a man who wears who's interested in Caron Pour Homme, where that's a vanilla lavender kind of fragrance, that would be kind of the more feminine counterpoint to that.
Oh yeah. And another thing that I wanted to mention, if you're a gentleman who likes vanilla and lavender, the Burberry Goddess Intense Flanker, I totally think should have been marketed toward men or as unisex, because it's this Burberry Goddess, a little bit less sweet and with patchouli in the base. It's like a little bit smoky. It's interesting. It wasn't too popular at its release.
It came off kind of like Angel did, which I think Angel, I've worn Angel before as a man, which has that, it's definitely not as patchouli-ish as Angel is.
Not as patchouli forward as Angel.
But it's there. There's an earthiness there.
Definitely. This is one that I haven't talked about too much on the channel. It is a body spray by Sol de Janeiro, and this is the Cheirosa 59. Most worn out of all the Sol de Janeiros that I have, as you can see. And this one, I'd say out of all the Sol de Janeiros, it's the most mature kind of scent profile. It's got sugared violets and vanilla orchid and some sandalwood in the base. So it's kind of more subdued. It's not as sugary sweet as the pistachio caramel one. But you still get that kind of interesting scent cloud around you. It's fluffy and kind of almost effervescent, and that scent trail that follows you, it's this texture sensory situation that these Sol de Janeiro body sprays do, and I love that. So I don't wear it super often anymore, but it's one of those fragrances that I can get away with wearing in the summer in the Texas heat, so very important for that reason.
Yeah, those Sol de Janeiros, you can smell them. They're popular for a reason. So I'd say if you've never tried them, because you might think oh, those are for the teeny boppers, I mean, I was about to say that the reason I know that Sol de Janeiros really are, quite present when you spray them is because with a minute left in a number of my class periods, suddenly the room just smells entirely like vanilla, and the Sol de Janeiro is the main culprit for that. They're so good. This brand was not around when I was in high school, but man, I would have been coveting these. I would have been saving my paychecks for these. We just had Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret. Those are still around. But yeah, the Sol de Janeiros are the ones that are pretty popular now. And they're very aesthetic. Another, these things I think would make great gifts too. Can't go wrong with Sol de Janeiro. Okay, last honorable mention. I couldn't not have this in the video about Vanilla is Life. And that is Liquid Broom. Is dupe the correct word that we're supposed to say? What is the politically correct term? We don't get monetized, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Dupe, clone, inspired by. Yeah, so this is this is French Avenue's take on Altair by Parfums de Marly, one of my favorite fragrance houses. It's like a powdery, aromatic vanilla with some wood and with orange blossom, right? Orange blossom. So good. I got it for him for Christmas. It's something that he asked for Christmas last year, and I wore it so much during the winter, and I really am looking forward to wearing it again. It's a great one. Very cozy vibes. I can't remember if there's cinnamon off the top. I can't remember either. Maybe there's cardamom, I think, too.
So beautiful. Just, I think anyone could wear it, you know, totally unisex.
That's one
Lovely.
I like wearing around the house when it's cold. It kind of fits for that. I know a lot of people like it as kind of a date scent, but
And if I'm wanting to wear, like, I get a craving for a more masculine scent some days, and this is like one of those go-to for me. Is if I want something that's cozy and vanilla but a little bit more masculine leaning, this is perfect.
my number one, like I kind of said when I was doing this, is I was thinking about how kind of like vanilla used in different functions, and while still being sort of the mainstay of the actual kind of fragrance and the intention. And I think for this particular one, vanilla isn't necessarily like the main thing that jumps out, but I think in regards to blending, and also vanilla definitely carries the dry down quite a bit, but the opening is just so great that it doesn't necessarily mean to me that it's strictly this sort of vanilla fragrance, and that would be Parfums de Marly Layton, which was a gift from my lovely wife for Christmas. And this one, one of the things that I noticed as I was kind of putting a list together and things like that, one of the consistent things in vanillas for me, but also I guess just all my fragrances in general, is cardamom and vanilla is something that I'm a big fan of. And so this one, you have that freshness from the geranium. The cardamom is this great spice, this tone that's kind of there. Yeah, it's I think one of the best openings, if not the best opening from the house. Yeah, it's just fantastic. There's some other fragrances that do similar things. Obviously, there's some dupes and things like that. I had Al Haramain.
Yeah, that one was a lovely
Noir.
dupe, but it just doesn't hold up like texturally. There's just this like, it's a sensation, it's an experience wearing this and smelling it, and you know, experiencing the scent trail of the real one. It really is something special.
There's definitely a progression. I have found with Detour Noir, for me personally, is that started kind of dense and 1 second, the dog wants to move. Can I get out?
The dog also happens to like sweet fragrances, so maybe he wants to smell this one. Mm-hmm. Episode of Ted reviewing perfumes to come in the future.
Yeah. But the thing with this one, it starts off with that bright effort. That apple, that's green, kind of crisp apple, geranium, and then obviously the dry down is just this kind of vanillic, dense cardamom.
So good.
It's delightful. So
good. One of my favorite men's fragrances of all time, I have to say. Ted really wants to be in the video.
Okay, dog.
Teddy, come here. Tell them hi. Tell them hi.
Hi. Hi, buddy. Is that fun for you? Okay. Next, I got this one actually right around the holidays, and it was kind of perfect for that because this kind of quietly just became something that I continuously was spraying in the winter without kind of realizing how much I truly enjoyed it. Initially, when I first got it in, it was nice, but it was kind of, I'm like, okay, I'll sort of come back to it. And then you can see the dent.
He's been wearing that one a lot.
Stronger with you, absolutely. So for this one, initially, I think the reason why I was kind of sort of just whelmed by it is upon first kind of sniffing it, because I blind bought it because I'm irresponsible.
He likes to live his life on the edge in a way that I don't always.
Armani was running a deal after Christmas where it was basically if you bought a bottle, they said on the website you could get a 30 ml of another fragrance, and then for some reason it let me also pick a 50 ml of Armani Code Parfum. So I was like, well, that's a pretty good deal. So that's initially why I bought it. But this is in the vein of that lavender vanillic tone. The top is very bright, to the extent that when you're initially smelling it in the top notes is you're like, okay, it's sweet, but is this really vanillic? Then the dry down happens, and you're like, oh, okay, now I understand why we're talking vanilla. The booziness that a lot of people will get out of it,
I don't really get that so much.
I get a sweetness. I don't necessarily get the rum accord that everyone kind of discusses.
On your skin, I definitely don't get a rum accord.
Yeah,
but
no.
I love when you wear this one.
It dries down for me to more vanillic, musky with that sweetness. A little bit of powderiness.
A bit like ambery, I'd say. More ambery than like rum.
But yeah, I think that this is something where if you have like one of the Azzaro Most Wanted line, I'm not necessarily actually a fan of those ones, which I think it's mostly because that sweetness is a bit of an overload for me, which some of you might look at Stronger For You and say, that's not an overload for you. There's a bit...
pretty sweet.
It's very sweet. It's probably arguably the sweetest thing that I own. But it does have a holiday-like vibe to me. Yeah.
As a woman who loves to smell vanilla on her man, it is Saga approved.
I think all of these are, for the most part. A little bit different vibes. Still sweet, but very much more in the powdery sense, which is Giussata's Titanium. This one is honestly one that I really fell in love with. I picked it up blind bought.
I love this one.
This one, it was kind of interesting because the house was running a sale, and I picked up this and Ambassador. Ambassador is also fantastic. It smells more Sauvage-esque with, kind of a mango note, but this one, powdery lavender, vanilla, tonka bean, there's an iris note. It's very powdery.
So pretty. I love when he wears this one.
It's powdery, but it also has this, it's got a body to it. Whereas like, I know some people will hearken this to like Pegasus. Pegasus. Because silver, chrome bottle vibes, and there is some relation, 100%. But this one to me comes off more full-bodied, robust. And it doesn't have that weird metallic note that Pegasus has. If that's something that you're into, you're not going to like this. If you smell Pegasus and you're like, that kind of metallic-y, this is a little off-putting, you might want to try that. Lovely. It
smells very professional too. Like I could totally see like if you work an office job. Yeah, very professional and like put together sort of feeling. I love it.
And it's one of those ones where I enjoy it because it has that vanillic nature to it without it necessarily having to be a cakey kind of vanillic tone.
Yeah. It doesn't scream. Like it's not loud at all. That's a good one.
It'll fill up a room like this. That's the first spray thus far that's been kind of present, but
well, yeah, when you spray like you.
Yeah. I don't spray that bad.
No, you don't. But more than me.
It is what it is.
I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, it's different.
No, but I also don't spray double digits like some people do, so. Be considerate of others.
No.
But yeah, this is a really fantastic one. If you, the one that I will say as well, if you like Le Male and what a lot of the Le Male DNA does, it doesn't smell like Le Male Le Parfum. Le Parfum to me has a bit of a root beer vibe. This doesn't. This has a bit of more creamy, powdery sort of vanillic. So I thoroughly enjoy that one.
Me as well.
Next, to get into that sort of cakey vibe is one that I wanted to feature, that wanted to kind of have one that was vanillic focused, in the sense of, to me, when I think of vanilla and I think of like vanilla cake. In addition, I also wanted to feature one that honestly I don't see a ton of talk about. And also it's a bona fide cheapie. That's not a clone. Huh. Interesting. That is El Gonzo's Friday edition. So this one, the bottle's great. I love the theming. El Gonzo, if you're not familiar, is a Spanish clothing company. And they also have got some fragrances. Their whole deal, from what I've gathered and kind of perusing stuff, they don't have anything in my size. Shocking, I know. It's tennis themed. A lot of kind of sportiness and tennis related things. I never even saw that. It says, "Here comes the fun."
Oh, that's cute.
Because it's a Friday perfume. I love
the bottle.
Right? They've got a bunch of really fun things in the house. I want to try that limoncello one that they have, but $25. You can get them on at rack stores. That's where I got that, actually. Funny enough, it was at a Marshall's, which was kind of weird when I saw that. I was like, I've seen that before. Let me grab one of those.
Not bad, $25.
$25. Reasonably priced at discounters as well, around in that same vein. Mm-hmm. This one, you wouldn't necessarily know it by taking a look at the notes. Vanilla actually isn't a note. Tonka bean is where you're getting that vanilla nature.
That's surprising.
But what's interesting in there is it's got, shocking, cardamom, and then it's got an aniseed note. So
there's something almost minty in there, yeah.
There's a anise note, and kind of in that opening, a lot of people will liken it to Lana Louis de Lome from YSL. But as it begins to dry down, it's vanilla cake. But it's not vanilla cake in the sense of what you're thinking of, like, oh, so it's really sugar overload and all that. No, I mean, like, you baked vanilla cake before you're touching any frosting or anything to it. It's that out of a oven kind of vanilla bakery sort of scent.
Kind of like the aroma of something fresh baked.
Yeah, and surprising amount of longevity. This is one that, like, most of my wearings of this have come from just around the house in the evenings, winter kind of stuff, and I'll spray it on after work or something at like 6, and then the next morning you can still smell it, which is pretty fantastic for something where it's $25.
Totally.
But that one was more in line with, I think that would be great if you're looking for like a date night scent. Friday edition. I think they just did a really great job with that one for reasonable cost, and it's a great little fragrance. Really enjoy that one. So wanted to feature it. I think it should get a little bit more recognition. And then there's one called Bravo Monsieur that is from the house as well. That is a sandalwood fragrance. Interested in that one. A lot of people say it's similar to Lavo's Santal.
Intriguing.
Who knows? Maybe that one will smell like pickles too.
Oh, the Lavo Santal.
It's not ranked. The list isn't ranked, but if this isn't my favorite vanilla fragrance, it's definitely her favorite on me. and it's become a little bit of a joke around the house. So I'll explain further. That is Invictus Victory Elixir. So what you're getting with this one is a bright, sparkly effervescence off the top. It almost comes off as tropical to my nose. I don't know why. Nothing in the note breakdown would suggest any form of tropical nature to it, but it's a bright, sparkly, beautiful, beautiful vanilla that dries into a wonderful, musky, vanillic tone. There's a bit of a kind of, I know there's like incense and sort of...
Is there patchouli in the base on this one?
There is patchouli in the base. It isn't super patchouli. It definitely comes off more as there's a little bit of grounding there.
Yeah,
where
it's more like a bit of earthiness in the base.
Little bit of earthiness. It's not... Because, yeah, like I have Molinard's patchouli fragrance, and that's patchouli. This, it's definitely more of a blending touch to kind of ground the fragrance.
It just puts me in a happy mood. I love this.
Mm-hmm. The running joke in the house is whenever I spray this, and it's usually in the evenings, and I'll go in and I'll say, oh, I'll put on a fragrance, and I'll spray it, and then she will either walk into the room or I'll walk into the room. She'll be like, that smells really nice. What are you wearing? Invictus Victory Elixir. And it happens that way every single time. And she goes, ooh, you smell really good. What's that?
I always say, it's always, when he wears perfumes, I obviously like to give feedback as a perfume lover myself, right? So I give, detailed descriptive feedback when I can. And I'll say, ooh, that smells great. Whenever he wears this one, it's always, that smells exceptionally good, or that smells exceptionally great. And that's always the word that I use, and it ends up being Invictus Victory Elixir, if it's not something else.
And then it's usually followed by her saying, damn it.
Gotcha.
Because to be honest with you, as far as we dive into niche indie houses with complex, interesting, thought-provoking ideas being brought to the forefront of fragrance, stuff sometimes just smells good, man.
I know what I love. I'm not ashamed that I love sweet designer fragrances, and you shouldn't be either.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let snobs bully you.
Don't let anybody bully you.
Yeah.
And if you want to smell like wonderful effervescent vanilla, I support you in this endeavor.
I support you as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. So my honorable mentions, I have two, and I included them for kind of specific reasons. I was going back and forth, and then when I saw that somebody had 5 honorable mentions, then I figured I would not have to really choose between the two.
No. This is vanilla is life. This is the time for the vanillas to shine.
Yes, the vanilla celebration. And the first of the two that I would like to talk about, it's another one that I feel it gets a little underrepresented in regards to exposure, for 2 reasons. One of the fragrances in the house gets a lot more attention, a ton more attention on a lot of lists and things of that nature. And then the other reason is this fragrance, allegedly, because I actually haven't smelled the other one, which I need to just to see.
Drama.
I don't even know if it's drama, really, or if it's people kind of speaking things into existence
People
that aren't
fabricating
really
drama.
really there. But it's the fragrance is called Divine Vanille.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And it's from the house of Essential Parfums. Perfumed by Olivier Pichot, who if I'm not mistaken, is no longer with us. So rest in peace. This is a fragrance that you might recognize the house because you've heard of Bois Imperial, which is a Quentin Beige fragrance that a lot of people like, myself included. I have a decant that I've been using of that one. Don't know if it's a full bottle for me, but I quite like it. The other aspect of this is the same perfumer also perfumed Herod from Parfums de Marly, which is a vanilla tobacco fragrance. This is a fantastic spiced vanilla fragrance. The reason why it's an honorable mention for me is I want a little bit more vanilla in this vanilla fragrance, actually. The opening's fantastic. You have the cinnamon, pepper. I sprayed a little bit on my hand before this. It's really bright, but not bright in a citrus sense,
So
bright
lovely.
with spice. And it's wonderful. It wears pretty effervescent, actually, for a vanilla fragrance. And it's definitely more, I think, what you'd consider like a traditional vanilla fragrance. So if you're looking at like the Mon Guerlain kind of idea, that's more so what it's kind of targeting. It's spice, there's some benzoin, there's the cinnamon, black pepper.
A little bit resinous in the base.
And I just wish that it was a little bit more...
You wish it was a little more vanilla forward?
Yeah. I just wish...
This one is lovely though. Like this one is another one that just kind of like cheers me up, and I need to put that on my list of ones from your side to wear. Yeah,
it's something that I've worn out and about, wore it to work. But yeah, it's that the vanilla is definitely something more so that you're going to get on the dry down more than anything.
So good.
Yeah, just wish it was just a tad bit more vanilla, and perhaps on other people's skin, because I've seen other people make on reviews and things of that nature say, no, it's a vanilla kind of bomb for them. I don't know. Why don't you try it?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm putting this on my list of ones to wear, because I have, quite a few, less than 10 or so from his collection that I tend to wear, and I think I need to add this to that list, because it's totally unisex, totally. I love that. How do you like it on me?
It's good. It's still very much that peppery, spiced opening. Very pleasant. The sheen's also ridiculous.
Nice oil sheen.
Essential Parfums, it's really, I think, one of the best value for money propositions. Because even from the website, 100 mLs, I believe, are around $100. But like discounters, you can find them for $75.
Yeah, that's great. I'm picturing myself like at like a meeting at work in this, and like a cute like work outfit.
All right.
Last
honorable mention. I blind bought this.
Maybe we don't say that. Let's not say that.
Listen, I think there's a way of blind buying in an educated way that will reduce the opportunity for disappointment. Anyway, so I'm really good at blind buying, is what you're hearing. Sample. I mean, all the videos that we have done together pretty much have been.
I think that like
sampling.
The message that we've conveyed to you, as consumers, as hobbyists, we enjoy sampling first and foremost. We tend to sample, especially if it's a new brand to us that we've never tried before. I don't like blind buying. I feel like I'm setting myself up for disappointment. I have successfully done it a few times, but I've also, like all my Avon fragrances, I love those, but I've blind bought them, and there's been some that weren't for me, and I'll pass them on to someone else who will enjoy them. So, I can't completely criticize you for the blind buying, because I've also obtained some wonderful fragrances that way.
I also just end up blind buying for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Actually, like this
I was gonna
one,
say
this
this
one, this one.
blind buy. I bought this because I was like, oh yeah, she'd like that.
I liked it.
Yeah. Anywho, so notwithstanding the 3, 4, 5, whatever ones that I have blind
If you're
bought
watching this, you've done it too.
yeah, exactly. None of you need to be told how to spend your money, nor would we do that. We're just advising. Anyway, this fragrance, I blind bought it because I heard a bunch of things about people talking about this fragrance because it's often talked about. It is, at this point, I would say categorically a fragrance legend.
It's an icon.
It is very much so. Everything from the bottle to the juice inside to the perfumer.
Totally.
Iconic. And I looked at it and I said, those notes sound great. I like all of those things. So why not? And that is Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male, the original one. EDT. Now, this fragrance, the other reason why I found it to be so kind of funny for me is that everyone talks about, oh, it's a clubbing scent. I wear this around the house.
This to me feels like, oh, Sean's gonna do some yard work, or we're just gonna hang out. Like that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, this is like a lazy Sunday fragrance for me.
You know what? That's it. I associate this scent with the weekends. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
It's one of those things where it is minty off the top and bright. Lavender. I love mint. I love vanilla. That's what the fragrance is. And it's funny to me that you get this thing now where, and I don't know who started perpetuating it, but in like online fragrance community, it's don't get Le Male because you'll smell like her dad.
My dad was not wearing Le Male.
My dad wears Stetson. He has worn Stetson. He continues to wear Stetson. He's not going to ever stop wearing Stetson. I got him Versace Mano Fraiche for his birthday last year, and he really liked that. And he's like, it's nice that I can wear something in the summer. But he wears Stetson. So I don't know whose dad was out here rocking this. Shout out to you, though, I guess.
Cool dads unite, right?
And then the other one of them saying, like, oh, you're going to smell like an ex-boyfriend.
None of my ex-boyfriends wore Santal 33.
Pickles. So that's kind of the thing that I think this is overly disliked amongst the community for reasons that when I smell it nowadays, I smell something much closer to fougères and more of a more masculine take on a fragrance than like this. The idea that Le Male is looked at as this sort of archaic but also, clubby kind of no.
That's just funny to me. Like I don't really understand that association, but I'll say, what also has a clubby association is this one, Black Opium. A lot of people have that kind of link in their minds with it, especially the original, from their like mid 2000s, late. I think it's like more like 2010s. I think this came out closer. The original came out closer to 2010s, and because this wasn't part of my life back then, I don't have those feelings about it. I don't have those scent memories, and to me, it just it's my my wedding fragrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing is if you allow, and I'll be honest with you, the people that are perpetuating that this is all of those things that I mentioned, that it's somehow outdated, but also juvenile, but also...
it's literally the same thing they say about this one.
It doesn't matter.
It's someone's... It's a stripper fragrance.
Yeah. The idea of assigning smells to something like that is so silly to me as a concept. So, wear the stuff that you like. Wear the things that make you feel good. Wear the vanilla fragrances that you love. And if you don't like vanilla fragrances and you came upon this video hoping to be convinced of liking vanilla fragrances, nothing that we say is going to be able to do that for you.
No. Some people just don't like it, and that's fine, you know. And I kind of feel bad for you because it's so popular right now as a fragrance. You know, it's kind of everywhere, especially on the ladies' side. But I mean, it's just it's popular for a reason. It makes people, it brings back happy memories for a lot of people. It's a very comforting scent for so many people, me included. And I will shamelessly celebrate my love of vanilla.
Yeah. I guess on that note, if I were to recommend ones where it's like you don't like vanilla, even though it's in the name, it's kind of funny to me. But
I would say out of all my fragrances, if you're not like a vanilla person, like a vanilla lover, out of all the choices that I've brought here today, I'd say these two are the least like vanilla forward and probably the safest. But again, like these are easily accessible. You can try this, and you know, Sephora, Ulta, same thing with this. You can go to Sephora and try them in person. I wanted to make sure that most of my choices would be like very easily accessible, like things that, you know, you could give as gifts, possibly just beautiful vanilla fragrances in my life that I wanted to share with y'all. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. We loved sharing our vanilla fragrances with you.
And share yours in the comments.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I want to hear.
Other than Ani, we know.
Yeah, Nishane Ani, we know.
And Mercedes-Benz Club Black, loved it, had it, gave it to my brother.
That one suits him. Suits him.
It's good.
So
but
yes,
something
your
other than those two.
Please let us know in the comments. Any vanilla fragrances that you've tried and are on your wish list too. I would love to hear. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that it was entertaining. We sure enjoyed sharing all of our favorite vanilla fragrances with you. Wherever you are, and whatever time it is, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye. I like that one. It's so classy.
It's another vanilla fragrance.
I forgot that was also vanilla.
Cinnamon, vanilla, but has a barbershop kind of soapiness to it too. It's very nice. But probably smells like your grandfather's girlfriend's ex-boyfriend. So just stay away.
Yeah.
It's fine.